How's it going, everybody? I wanted to get out here and do a video for you today on some more traditional archery tips. I did a poll and the people, told me what you wanted to see. So kind of what I had in mind, since we're well into bow season now, it's well into the first week of October. Things are rolling pretty well across the country. If your seasons didn't start back in September, most seasons start, I think, October 1st. By and large. But something I think gets forgot about is the importance of continual practice. Just because seasons started doesn't mean that you should just stop practicing. The way that I like to practice, I feel, for me at least, is a good baseline on how to not only continually check yourself and see where you're at as far as your shooting, flaws, stuff like that. But it's also a good way to boost your confidence and be more realistic about where you are as a shooter before you step foot out into the woods to hunt animals or hunt deer or whatever. So I'll just kind of walk you through my practice regimen and see if maybe it's something that makes sense to you. So I am a big believer, after listening to people like Clay Hayes and a bunch of others, Jason Samkovic of Traditional Archery Wilderness Podcast, and different guys like that. I am a big believer in practicing with fewer arrows and making your shots count. That's even in the summertime. I'm pretty notorious for having a dirt path beat from back here to 20-25 yards to the target in a straight line. Not necessarily a good habit to have, shooting from the same spots all the time, but it's because I only shoot one or two arrows at a time. And the reason that I like to do that, as opposed to shooting groups, not saying there's anything wrong with shooting groups. I think shooting groups is still critical and you should still do it. And it most certainly has its place, even for a bow hunter. You hear a lot of guys talk about that too. Well, I'm a bow hunter. Well, I'm a tournament shooter. Well, I'm a tournament shooter and a bow hunter. I think that a lot of the practice relates both ways. So if you're somebody that shoots a lot of groups and stuff, you shoot from the 20, the 25, 15, whatever, more than likely, a lot of those practice regimens and skills you're using are going to transfer over anyway. We're going to get joined by the cat again. You guys are no stranger to Casey. What I like to do is I like to take a cold shot, and I like to really put a lot of focus and emphasis on that cold shot. The reason that is because as a bow hunter, the most important shot you're going to take is a shot that you're up in a stand, it's cold, you've probably not been awake for that long. You may be jittery from drinking coffee before you headed out, whatever. That cold shot is going to tell a lot about you as a shooter, because whatever things that you have hardwired, whatever demons that you're battling at the time, a lot of those are probably going to surface at that first cold shot, when you're just going through the motions, looking at the spot, pulling back, releasing the arrow. So I like to really put a lot of emphasis on the cold bore shot, if you will, because as a bow hunter, to me, in my mind, it makes the most sense. And then after that, just shoot fewer arrows. Shoot one or two arrows at a time. And what that does is, especially for a traditional archer, it forces you to put more thought into each arrow that you're shooting and making each arrow count. So if I only shoot one arrow from the 20, let's say, and let's say I pluck it, clap, something like that, I got to walk 20 yards all the way up to that target thinking about that crappy shot that I just made after all the good ones, from that session, and like, what the heck did I do? Or this is what I did, I can't do that again. But a lot of that gets lost whenever you're just pulling arrows out and winging them, shooting, multiple arrow groups. If you're a seasoned archer, then you're probably able to develop somewhat of a skill, or have developed somewhat of a skill in being able to focus more and harder and pay more attention to each arrow and be more deliberate with that arrow, even when you're shooting groups. So this doesn't go for everybody. What I do is not a blanket solution for every shooter. You still kind of got to figure some of this out for yourself, but it's a good place to start. So I haven't shot yet today, so I figured I would just go ahead and take this first cold shot with you guys. I'm just going to shoot there at the bore. This is only, I think, right around 14, 15 yard shot. This isn't anything too crazy, but again, I haven't shot yet today, so whatever you guys see is going to be real time and not rehearsed. So we'll see what happens. Not bad for a cold shot, but the reason that I felt pretty confident with that shot in the first place, and something we'll talk more about in some future videos, and I've actually done a video about it in the past, you guys can go check out, is the importance of a shot sequence. I know it sounds crazy, I know it sounds kind of loaded, but even on a deer, I just shot a doe here last week, and I know and remember that whenever I was getting ready to make the shot on that doe, I walked through the process, and there's some words that I tell myself in my head that kind of brings me into real time and keeps me from just pulling back and winging an arrow. So even on my cold shots, I'm going through that shot sequence. But from here, now that I've made that cold shot and I'm pleased with it, it hit right where I'm looking, I don't have any problem now, you know, just going ahead and knocking a second arrow and going in and trying for a second arrow. A little bit left, but still a pretty good shot. Generally, when I'm doing this, I like to go ahead and be practicing at the ranges that I normally am hunting at. My setups all right now are generally no more than about a 15-20 yard shot. So there's no reason for me to go back to 30 yards and make a cold bore shot, okay? So I'm here at about the 14, 15 yard line, and that's where I do most of my practice during the season. The preface that I really want to push in this video, without being any more wordy than I already am inherently, is just practice with fewer arrows. If you have time before work in the morning to grab your bow, come out here, walk up to, you know, whatever it is, the 15 yard line, let's say, and make a first cold shot of the day and see what happens. And regardless of what that arrow hit, where that arrow hits, maybe just shoot that one arrow. And if it's a bad shot, then just maybe spend the rest of the day thinking about, you know, what you did. And that's not my method. There are other individuals have already tested this and proven this as a viable method, especially for bow hunters. But whenever you shoot a deer, more than likely you're only going to get one shot. So there's not going to be a, oh, hit a little bit right, let's knock another arrow, see what happens, see if I can work that out. You're not going to get that. You know, it's going to be pretty much a one and done. And if it's a marginal hit, then you could be looking at a wounded animal. So use that time you have now to do critical practice and put more thought into your arrows. And even if that means one arrow and then the next 24 hours worth of thinking about whatever it is that you did on that one arrow, I think if you guys implement that and implement, you know, shooting one arrow at a time, walking down, grabbing it, coming back and shooting again, I think you will see a drastic change in your shooting, and you'll feel way more confident in the moment of truth. Like I said, when it comes to shooting a good shot sequence, a strong shot sequence, even with an animal standing in front of you, you'd be surprised at how well you're able to still stick with that shot sequence and not get too scatterbrained and let the buck fever take over too bad. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to tune back in. I've always posting content on here on a pretty regular basis at this point. If you haven't already subscribed to Backwards Hat Traditional Archery and Outdoor Skills, please go ahead and do that. If you like this video, go ahead and hit like and comment below if you liked what I had to say or didn't like what I had to say. Feedback really helps me. It kind of helps guide what you guys want to see, and if you guys want to see more of whatever it is that I'm doing. So anyway, thank you guys so much to all my subscribers and supporters. Thank you for your views and everything that you're doing for me and being able to have this channel up and going. And I'm really happy to have all you guys here. So anyway, guys, stay safe, get out and hunt. Season's here, and shoot straight. I'll see you guys next time.